Kit Kats can read. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys my September wrap up. All the books I managed to read in the month of September. It was in a way a little bit of a flump sort of a month. I was extremely busy with work. I was heavily exhausted. I'm ill, still ill, going on now, and it sounds like I'm making excuses, but really that is what like stops my motivation when it comes to reading, when I'm like exhausted and unmotivated sort of thing. So I ended up reading pretty much some graphic novels slash mangas during the month of September. So I managed to read a total of 5 in total, which, you know, it still counts as reading, so I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to go through all the books that I managed to read in the month, starting with Cami Garcia's Raven of Teen Titan Universe. So this, I believe, is going to be like the first in her graphic novel installments on the Teen Titans. Starting with Raven, we're going to have another one for Beast Boy. We had a little teaser at the back of the book as well for Beast Boy as well, so like a special sneak peek. I really enjoyed the art style to this book. I think it's really cool, and like it's just like all purpley and black and white, and, you know, orange in some places, and pinks, and I feel like that catches the vibe of Raven, as she's like really punky, she's purpley, and, you know, a dark, powerful character. So yeah, so it's the story of Raven, and she's sort of like starting fresh at a new school. Her foster mum had a tragic accident, and so she stays with like a different family, like a foster sister, and so she's pretty much starting at school. She's finding a guy who learns to accept her for like who she is, and yeah, and then things happen. So yeah, really enjoyed this. It was quite quick, and I like how it's the first book in a new graphic novel series based on the Teen Titans. I grew up watching the Teen Titans, and yeah, I loved it. And I also watched the Netflix show of Titans, which is where they're kind of like a bit older and it's more darker and grittier, so but I do like that. And yeah, so I really enjoyed reading about Raven in this graphic novel. I totally recommend it, actually. I really enjoyed it. I know some people didn't like this as much as me, but you know, it's gonna happen, isn't it? We're gonna have books where other people don't like as much as others, but this I really enjoyed. So I gave it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I recommend it, especially if you're into the Teen Titan universe, or, you know, any sort of graphic novel that's based around people with superpowers. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a brilliant story about Raven, and I cannot wait for the next one, which is going to be about Beast Boy, who is like my favourite Teen Titan character ever. Next of all, I'm going to move on to like my favourite manga series like ever. Like this has, I feel like it's actually taken over my ultimate favourite, which is Death Note. And Death Note is very high on my list, hence my Death Note tattoo right here of L. And oh, but this got me feeling so many emotions, like all over the place. I was all over the place, and I was thinking about it when I finished it, and yeah. So the next graphic novel that I read is Orange the Complete Collection Volume Number 1. So it's this big and bulky book which contains pretty much several chapters of the first book, and oh my goodness, just several chapters packed into this, and I read this in one sitting, like in one day. I was that obsessed. I needed to know more. So if you guys don't know what the story of Orange is about, because I honestly didn't until I read this year, this is about 11th grade. We have a girl called Naho, and she receives a letter from herself 10 years into the future, pretty much saying that there's going to be this new guy, transfer student called Kakeru. He's going to join the class, and she basically has to save his life because 10 years from now, in an alternate sort of like universe, he has killed himself with suicide. So it's heart-wrenching. it's definitely sort of like got that sci-fi sort of like futuristic in there. There's romance in it, and oh my goodness guys, just so many emotions. And just in this volume they're pretty much just like they're reading letters like from like the days of where things happen, like today Kakaru said this, I want you to say this back, I didn't back then, and I think that's why, you know, it happened. Like so many sort of like repercussions in order to cause something to happen. And I think that it's a beautiful manga series where it really does show you like how what you say, and if you don't say stuff sometimes, like what it can do, and yeah, how it can push somebody. And very similar in a way to like 13 Reasons Why, where you see like all the tapes and all of the little things that built up to Hannah's suicide sort of thing. And it's very similar to sort of like this, like all the little mini things that built up to Kakaru's suicide. And literally it's just about them trying to change and alter the future where there is a Kakaru where he survives. So it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's so worth it, and I'm so glad that I read it. It's definitely on my favourites list for the year. Of course, Ultimate Katie Star is a favourite of mine. I loved it so much. I laughed, I cried. There's some comedy moments in this, like I'm giggling away out loud to myself. It's just that good. And just so many moments where you're like swooning over the characters, and where you're smiling, and when your heart is like leaping because you just feel so much like sorrow for that person. It's so beautiful. Definitely worth the Ultimate Katie Star. Moving on, we go to the Complete Collection volume number 2, which I actually read partially online actually, and then I was like, I need to purchase the sequel book. So I got it from eBay secondhand. I'm really glad that I did. And also in this you get a snippet from Haruo Astronaut. So this much of the manga is actually a single installment by the same author of Orange, and they have written like another extra manga that's at the end, which I've already read. I read that at the beginning of October anyway, so that's already done. But Ichigo Takano is amazing, just even just with storylines and just getting your emotions, and just the art style and everything is fantastic. So yeah, so here we have volume number 2, which is a continuation from the Complete Collection volume number 1. And what I like about these books is that they do bounce between things that are happening in the future as well. Like they're having a little anniversary where they're like going towards an area and things that they would have given like on Kakaru's birthday, and it's so bittersweet. And there's a beautiful sunset, and how they got all separated after his death and everything, and that's sort of like plonked in there in between sort of like chapters here and there. So yes, so we have pretty much this much, 7 more chapters of the end of the Orange universe, and my goodness, just it's so beautiful. So yeah, it's a continuation. They're still trying to save Kakaru, and they just, you know, Nahu has a sort of growing romantic feeling towards Kakaru, and how she wants to like be there for him, and she's completely and utterly fallen in love with him. And it's just how he is sort of like slowly falling in love with Nahu too, and it's just so beautiful, and it's so cute, and it's totally worth it. Yes, again, Ultimate Katie Star, because I just love this universe, this series. It's just it's amazing, and I totally recommend it. So next of all, I'm going to go on to my next read, which is Orange Future. So again, Ichigo Takano. I placed the picture over here because I actually read this one. I managed to get this one on the Kindle, so rather than like, because these are actually massive and they're going to take up a lot of space, so I don't mind having like volumes 1 and 2, but I managed to get the book of Future on my Kindle. for around £6 here in the UK. And yeah, I really enjoyed reading on the Kindle actually. They've got a really good app. It's like Kindle Comicology or something like that, and it's the first time I've ever used it, and it was really good. Like, it zooms in on the picture frames and it like goes around zooming, and it's really cool. I totally recommend it, and it's so colourful. So it's from this perspective of Suwa, who is this guy right here in the middle. Now, this isn't a spoiler because you pretty much get this like in like the first like episode of the anime, or like the first bit of the manga where they're talking about the future, and he and Neiko from the future have a kid. So because Kakeru passed away, they eventually sort of like got together. So this is pretty much about Suwa, and he's sort of like telling his story like from the future, and also like he's writing a letter to himself from the future, as well as to try and save Kakeru and everything. And yeah, it was really beautiful again as well, and I really liked it. And it does have that really horrible, in a way, bittersweet ending where it's just sort of like, it makes you feel like you appreciate everything, you appreciate life and all that sort of like comes with it, but also at the same time you're sort of like really heartbroken, but you're like really happy as well, just as you see how things are happening. In a way, this book is a bit like a recap of a lot of the book, and if you watch the anime as well, most of it is like a recap in a way, but there are like some bits in between. So it's definitely worth seeing because it's really sweet, and it gets to see Suwa and why he did the things that he did throughout the actual volumes of these books, and it's really interesting to see it that way. And some people might be like, oh, this was a bit pointless, but I really like those little side things. I like novellas. Sometimes I like finding more out about certain characters, sort of thing, like why they are the way they are, why they do the things that they do, and to get a better understanding if they're done really well, I must admit. So yeah, so this was done, in my opinion, like really well. I really liked seeing the future of this one being saved 10 years on, and I really liked, you know, how you see the future of this other alternate universe, and it sort of just goes to show, like, you know, if you ever could change the future to have a life where somebody is saved in the future, you know, when they're not, you know, just things, different things happen, sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's an absolutely beautiful series that anybody and everybody should read. It's just totally worth it, and I enjoyed it so much. So of course, all three books, volumes 1, number 2 and the third collection of Future, they all deserve an ultimate Katie star because they are so beautiful, and in my heart, just so many good feels. The last graphic novel that I read was Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker and Wendy Zhu. So I'm going to place a picture over here as well because I read this again on my Kindle. I got it for a review from NetGalley. Unfortunately, I was looking at people's reviews of this on Goodreads, and I feel like my review did agree with a few other people, so I'm glad I'm not the only one, but there are other people that absolutely loved and adore this book. So this is one that's gained a lot of mixed reviews, so I'm unfortunately in the half where it's sort of like, this was just an okay read. So unfortunately it just fell a little bit flat for me. Everything just seemed really rushed and all over the place, and the romance came across a little bit like insta-love, because we have these two female characters and they have liked each other since like childhood, and then they got like separated and then they got back together. But just how it comes across in the graphic novel, for me it came across like, whoa, this is really insta-love. We don't know anything about their past, we've just literally been told, oh, they used to know each other and now all of a sudden they're in love with each other and they're like kissing each other. And I'm just like, that for me is really fast. Like, if there was a first book that was like about them, whether it's a novella or something, then it would be easier. But it just, for me, it felt like there was a missing volume in this book, and it's really weird. I really liked the art style and how diverse the book is. We've got like their two like grandmothers who are female, so I thought that was really cool as well. And obviously the two main girl characters, they are female too. I just wish the things were explained a bit more, and I found myself so lost throughout the whole of this graphic novel. And things were happening and I was just like, what is going on? It just seemed really rushed and all over the place. I just found it to be just an okay read. Like, I didn't enjoy it as much as other people did, and I'm so disappointed by it. I'm so disappointed by it. And yeah, so I'm hoping that the authors of this maybe write another book that explains things in more detail, even if it's like a prequel or something, like some way to explain things. But I know other people have felt the same as well, that it seemed a bit rushed and very insta-lovey, and that's just unfortunately the feeling that I got with it, that I do agree with those people. But I still think it's a really good graphic novel. Like I say, love the art style of it. I think it was beautiful, and I love how there's diverse bits in it. I'm not in any way myself gay at all, or I'm not like a lesbian, I'm not bisexual, I am a straight person. So for me it's in a way difficult for me to read books like this, because I'm not like that, so I don't know how people are like that feel and that sort of thing. So I feel like I can't give a brilliant review and that sort of thing just because of that. But I always support people in those sort of relationships. I feel like if you like somebody, you like somebody, you know. But for me, like, reviewing it from, you know, a sexual point of view is very difficult for me. So that's why I never review that sort of like stuff part of it. So I can't really say like, oh, this was a really good like bisexual romance, or this was a really good like non-binary romance sort of thing, because I don't know what that's like. So I can't really comment on that sort of thing, like, but what I can say is I thought it was really sweet and really cute, the two female characters getting together, and that the two grandmothers are like together as well. I think that's really adorable and really sweet, and I totally promote that sort of stuff. So I gave Mooncakes 3 out of 5 Kit Kats, which, you know, is an average rating for me. It's an okay read. I still enjoyed everything, and yeah, I still recommend for people to read it, because like I say, you could really enjoy it. There's a lot of people that absolutely love this graphic novel, and yeah, so I totally still recommend for people to give it a read. So with that said, that is the end of my September wrap up, all the books that I read in September. So in the end, you know, at least I managed to read like 5 books in a way. Although they were graphic novels / mangas, it was still reading material, which for me it still counts, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to end this video now. If there's anything you'd like to say about these books, anything else you'd like to learn about them, let me know down below in the comments. Leave me a comment down below. Link me your wrap-ups down below. I like watching people's wrap-ups. Link me your TBRs as well. I absolutely love watching people's TBRs. And yeah, all that sort of like fun stuff. All of my social media links, if you'd like to follow me elsewhere, will be linked down below in the description box as well. And if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does support me and my channel, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video too. I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are. Keep smiling, keep reading, and be happy. My name is Katie, and I'll see all of you wonderful awesome people in my next video. Bye!